If you've ever felt stuck in the routine of traditional language teaching, this video is your gateway to revolutionize your classroom. We're going beyond the textbook to explore how the vibrant worlds of art and music can not only boost language comprehension, but also ignite a cultural passion in your students. Stay tuned because these strategies are not just innovative, they're game changers for your teaching style and could be the key to unlocking your students' full language potential. Let's dive in. My name is Scott, and you're watching Immediate Immersion, where we're all about comprehension-based instruction in the modern language classroom. We'll be right back. Let's start with melodic vocabulary building, a super engaging way to spice up language learning. You know how music can stick in your head for days? We're going to harness that power for language teaching. First up, song lyric analysis. This is a goldmine for teaching idiomatic expressions, cultural references, and even slang. Imagine taking a hit song in the target language and breaking it down line by line with your students. You can create activities where students match lyrics with their meanings, or even better, have them illustrate certain lines to demonstrate understanding. This method is particularly effective for those tricky idiomatic phrases that don't translate directly. It's also a great way to discuss cultural context. Moving on to singalong sessions. Who doesn't love a bit of classroom karaoke? Hit that like button if that's you. This is a fantastic for pronunciation practice. Pick some popular songs in the target language and have a singalong session. You can even turn it into a pronunciation challenge, focusing on specific sounds or intonations that students find tricky. It's a fun way to practice fluency and help students to lose the fear of speaking. Plus, it's a great way for them to hear the rhythm and melody of the language. Lastly, creating original songs. This is where students can really get creative. Challenge them to write their own songs using the vocabulary and grammar structures they've learned. It could be a rap, a ballad, or even a jingle, anything that gets them using the language creatively. They can perform these songs, record them, or even make a music video. It's not just about language practice, it's about tapping into their creative side, which really helps in retaining new vocabulary. All these strategies aren't just effective for language acquisition, they make the learning process enjoyable and memorable. Language learning through dance and movement is such an exciting and dynamic approach to teaching. It's all about blending physical movement with language learning, and it can be a total game changer in the classroom. Starting with Dance Vocabulary Challenge, it's a super creative way to embed new vocabulary. You know how we often use hand gestures naturally when teaching? Let's take that up a notch. For each new word or phrase, you could create a specific dance move. It's like a physical mnemonic device. Imagine teaching Spanish, and for volar, to fly, students spread their arms like wings. It's a fun and memorable way to learn, and it really helps those kinesthetic learners. Plus, it's a great way to get everyone up and moving, breaking the monotony of typical classroom setup. Then, there's cultural dance exploration. This is a fantastic way to delve into the culture of the language being taught. You could explore a traditional dance from a Spanish-speaking country, for example, and incorporate the dance steps into the lesson. While learning the steps, you're also teaching the vocabulary and phrases related to dance, movement, and cultural aspects. It's not just a language learning, it's cultural immersion. You could even have a dance day where students dress up in traditional attire and perform the dance, bringing the whole experience to life. And lastly, interactive dance stories are an incredible blend of storytelling and movement. Imagine narrating a story in the target language where certain parts of the tale are represented by specific dance moves. For instance, a story about a day at the beach could include movements for swimming, sunbathing, or playing volleyball. It helps students associate the vocabulary with actions, which can be a powerful memory aid. Plus, it's so engaging. These strategies can really inject energy and excitement into language lessons, and they're fantastic for catering to different learning styles. They also foster a sense of community and teamwork in the classroom, which is always a win-win. Next, let's dive into cultural immersion through art. It's an incredibly rich area for language learning that goes beyond just words. It's about connecting with the culture and the history behind the language. First, let's talk about artwork analysis. This isn't just about looking at paintings, it's about exploring the stories, emotions, and history they represent. You could pick a famous painting from a Spanish speaking or French speaking artist, for example, and use it to spark a conversation. Discuss the imagery, the context of the time it was made, and any relevant historical events. It's a great opportunity to introduce new vocabulary and idiomatic expressions that are related to art and history. Plus, students can express their interpretations and feelings about the artwork, practicing descriptive language and personal opinions. Next, let's move on to virtual museum tours. These are a treasure trove for language learners. With so many museums offering online tours, you can visit places across the world. After the tour, have a discussion or a debate about the students' favorite pieces. This encourages them to use specific vocabulary and construct their thoughts in the target language. It's also a fantastic way to expose students to different artistic styles and periods, making the language learning experience more holistic. Finally, cultural craft projects. This hands-on learning at its best. Students can create their own art inspired by cultural traditions from countries where the target language is spoken. Let's say they're learning French. They could try their hand at making a small replica of a French landmark or painting a scene from a famous French story. While working on these projects, encourage them to use the target language to describe their process, the materials they're using, and the cultural significance of their project. This kind of activity not only bolsters language skills, but also deepens cultural appreciation. And incorporating these art-based methods into language teaching can make learning more interactive, enjoyable, and meaningful. It's all about connecting the language to its cultural roots, making the learning process more vibrant and alive. Integrating music in everyday conversation is a brilliant way to make language learning resonate more with students. It's about bringing the rhythm and emotion of music into everyday language use. Let's start with music-based role plays. You know how songs often tell a story or describe a situation? We can use that. Take a scenario from a popular song in the target language and create a role play activity around it. For example, if there's a song about a couple arguing in a cafe, students can act out that scene. This gives them a chance to practice conversational language in a realistic and engaging context. They'll learn how to express emotions and opinions just like in the song. Plus, it's a fun way to bring a bit of drama into the classroom. Next, let's move on to lyric jigsaw. This is a fantastic listening exercise. You take the lyrics of a song, cut them up into lines or phrases, and then have the students rearrange them in the correct order as they listen to the song. It's not only a test of their comprehension, but also a great way to get them to focus on the nuances of the language and intonation, like rhythm. It can be quite challenging, but it's also really rewarding when they get it right. And then there's musical debates. Songs are often about topics that everyone can relate to. Love, life, challenges, joy, you name it. Use these themes as a starting point for debates or discussions in class. If a song talks about a social issue, for example, it can be the basis for a debate. This helps students learn how to express their opinions and arguments in the target language. It's a great way for them to practice speaking spontaneously and to learn vocabulary related to issues. These strategies make the language learning process not just educational, but also incredibly engaging and relatable. They allow students to connect with the language on an emotional level. If you haven't registered for Comprehended 2024 yet, now is the time. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to join a community of passionate language educators from around the globe. Immerse yourself in cutting-edge teaching strategies, gain insights from experts like La Maestra Loca, and elevate your teaching to new heights. Every moment counts in this journey of professional growth and inspiration. Head over to comprehended.co/register to register now. Be a part of an event that's shaping the future of language education. You don't want to miss out. Our final topic, exploring music genres in history and language learning, is such a fascinating angle to bring into the classroom. It's about connecting language learning with the rich tapestry of music history and genres. Starting with genre-based language lessons, think about how each music genre has its own unique vocabulary and cultural background. For instance, if you're teaching Spanish, you could have a lesson focused on flamenco. Dive into the specific terms associated with flamenco, talk about its Andalusian origins, and even explore the emotions and themes commonly found in flamenco music. This kind of lesson not only teaches language, but also immerses students in the cultural context of where that language is spoken. Plus, each genre brings a new set of vocabulary and cultural insights, keeping the lessons fresh and exciting. Next, music history. This is a great project-based activity. Have your students research and create timelines showing the evolution of music in a particular country or region. They could include key artists, landmark songs, and how historical events influence the music scene. This activity integrates history, culture, and language, providing a deeper understanding of the target language's background. It's also a fantastic way for students to practice research skills and present information in the target language. And lastly, analyzing classic hits. This can be incredibly engaging. Choose some classic songs in the target language and dissect them in class. Look at the lyrics, discuss the language used. Is it formal, colloquial, poetic? Talk about why these songs are considered classics and their impact on culture. This not only helps with language skills, particularly in understanding nuances and idiomatic expressions, but also connects students with the cultural zeitgeist of the language they're learning. By integrating these music-based strategies, you're not just teaching a language, you're opening a window into its soul, the cultural, historical, and emotional layers that make language learning fully enriching. If you found at least one of these tips helpful or inspiring, please give this video a thumbs up. It really does support the channel. And don't forget to check out one of the 2 videos YouTube has selected just for you. They're perfect for enriching your language teaching toolbox. Happy comprehensible input, and we'll see you in the next video.